Hey y'all, it's Cowgirl Sierra, and I'm going to be reading The Friendship Part 5. One day, Ashlyn, Jalissa, Kiara, Haley, Sierra, Steve, Brent, Connor, Kane, and Chris were going to Walmart to get a few things. They hate going to Walmart because they hardly find what they need, but they decided to go there just because. So they jumped in the car and drove to Yurksville, Ohio, where a Walmart was located. It took them about an hour to get there. Chris, Sierra, Haley, and Kane were in one car. Steve, Ashlyn, Jalissa, and Brent were in another car. Kiara and Connor drove Sierra's Mustang. When they got to Walmart, they got what they needed and drove back to the apartment. When they got there, they found parking spaces close to the store. They parked next to each other. Since they had 3 cars, they had to park a little close to each other so they could find their cars easily. Anyways, they walked in and walked around for about 5 minutes. After those 5 minutes, they saw a creepy man looking at the girls. Chris, Connor, Steve, Brent, and Kane tried to get closer to the girls to try and let the guy know that they were taken. After a few minutes of this, the man walked away, but about 15 minutes later, Haley saw the same man trying to sneak up on him. When she tapped on Kane's shoulder to tell him what was going on, he immediately turned around and saw the man grabbing Haley inappropriately. Kane knocked the old man down and they moved on. When they were checking out, they saw that the same man was trying to get to the girls. But Kane, Steve, Connor, Brent, and Chris didn't let him. They checked out and headed to their cars. The man ran after them. The girls jumped in the cars, and the boys took care of the man. The boys jumped in the cars after taking care of the man. They headed back to the apartment. The girls were scared, but they forgot about it. They pulled out of the parking lot and went back to the apartment. When they got back to the apartment, they grabbed their groceries and headed into the apartment. They unpacked the groceries and watched TV with each other. Soon a strange commercial came on TV. It was about climate change, but the way it was produced made it strange. It was illustrated where there were human-alien hybrids and creepy-looking creatures roaming around, and they were all facing climate change. They tried to stop it, but they make it worse. That was the commercial. They were a little creeped out by the commercial, but they moved on. They were watching the movie Poltergeist on Netflix when they heard strange noises coming from the basement. At first, the sounds were kind of soft, but they were loud enough that they could hear it with the basement door closed. Chris and Connor walked to the basement door. They opened it to hear the sound loud and clear. It sounded like boxes being pushed around. Then there was a scream from the basement. That was enough for Chris and Connor to shut the basement door and run back to the living room. They sat down next to Sierra and Kiara and discussed what they should do. Suddenly, they heard the creak of the basement door opening very slowly. They were very terrified. They ran out on the patio and hid. The front door opened and a tall man stepped onto the patio. He saw a glimpse of Haley's shoe, and once he saw it, he immediately ran to where they were hiding. They ran to their cars. They jumped in the car and sped off. They were lucky that they got away because the man wanted to rape, torture, and murder them. They went to Wendy's to see a few people that they know that work at Wendy's. They wanted to be safe because they knew that the people that they knew at Wendy's would protect them. Soon, as they feared, the man walked into Wendy's. They hid in the back of the store. They were trying to not be seen by the man. The man walked up to the front counter and asked where they were. The woman that was working at the front register did not tell the man where they were. Jalissa, Ashlyn, Haley, Kiara, and Sierra were freaking out. So were Connor, Steve, Brent, and Chris and Kane, but they tried to hide it. The man walked to the bathrooms. He walked into the girls' bathroom first, but there was no one in the girls' bathroom. Then he walked into the men's bathroom. There was just a normal-looking man washing his hands. It was not Steve, Brent, Connor, Chris, or Kane. Then he walked out of the store. Then Kiara, Sierra, Ashlyn, Jalissa, Haley, Connor, Steve, Brent, Chris, and Kane walked out to the dining room. They saw the man pacing around the store. Once he noticed that they were standing in the dining room, he ran back into the store and tried to get to them. So they ran out of the other door of the store into their cars. They jumped in their cars and drove around town. Then they went back to the apartment. It was getting late, so they decided to go to bed. It was around 10 p.m. and they were all tired. Fast forward to the next morning, they all decided to get breakfast at McDonald's. So they got ready and headed to McDonald's. They ate and then they went to the park. They were going to take pictures and spend time together. After an hour of being at the park, they went back to the apartment. They watched TV for a while. Then they went on the patio and listened to music while sipping on sweet tea. They loved being together. Chris and Sierra were still sitting on the couch watching TV. They love being inside instead of outside because when it's hot out, they hate it. And it was a hot day that day. They were watching a horror movie when they heard something fall into the kitchen. They both got up and checked it out. They just saw the paper towel holder on the floor. Sierra picked it up and put it back on the counter, and they walked back to the living room. They were watching the horror movie The Conjuring. Then they heard another sound coming from their bedroom. Chris got up and checked it out. He found Sierra's notebook on the floor. He picked it up and put it back on the stand. He walked back into the living room and continued watching the movie with Sierra. Then Ashlyn, Steve, Jalissa, Brent, Kiara, Connor, and Haley and Kane walked back in to see what Chris and Sierra were doing. They watched the movie with Chris and Sierra. Then the TV just shut off. That was weird, they thought. But they tried to turn it back on, but it would not turn on. So they just took a nap. Then they were never heard or seen again. So that is the end of part 5 of the friendship. I hope y'all liked it, and as I said in part 1, I am currently working on part 7 as the time I am recording these videos. So here in about a week or so, we'll probably have part 7 through part 10 done and completed. And hopefully by Christmas Eve, I will have them printed out and I will be reading them to you guys. So have a great day, and Cowgirl Sierra's out.